There are 4 signs that your ex is playing with you. Perhaps you don't realize it, but you are wasting your time. You know, your ex is making false promises. They alternate the hot and cold. Sometimes it can be good because you have this inner battle. Sometimes it can be bad. Maybe they want to nurture something more toxic than this. I'll explain everything after the jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
And before I start, I want to remind you that I put together a quiz for you to know if you have any chance to get back with your ex. My goal is to help you avoid wasting your time. That's what I said at the beginning in the intro. I'm a strong believer that when relationships are worth pursuing, it's worth fighting for them. It's worth fighting for your ex, regardless of the pain, regardless of what has been done. But sometimes you have also to accept that it's impossible to recover a relationship. And this is what I assess in this quiz. So it takes literally 2 minutes. If you haven't taken this quiz already, it takes 2 minutes and you get a result right away. It's totally free. I forgot if I mentioned that. The first one, hot and cold. Very classic in relationship recovery in post-breakup. And so the hot and cold is basically where you can see the tip of the iceberg, the inner battle between the heart and the mind, between how they feel, because they have feelings for you, and the decision. They told the world that they broke up with you. They feel they still have feelings for you, and so they have this inner battle. They get very excited and they withdraw. Okay? Be aware of this situation. It's a good sign, however, it can be extremely damaging. And I'll explain you why, and I'll explain you how to do, what the things to do about it. Why this needs to stop. Because the more you are complacent with the situation, it reinforces also that your ex needs that ego boost. You know, you're just around. The assurance that you're on the hook. They call them, you reply. They text you, you reply. You're already there right away. They make you wait for days to text you, but whenever they text you, you reply right away. The problem with that is that you're going to end up being the one chasing, always running after the other. That feeling that you are over-investing in the relationship, that there's no reciprocity. You're actually confirming this imbalance, this natural imbalance after a breakup, where one took the decision and the other one has to suffer the decision, has to chase for the other. And you keep on running after this, like you run towards the horizon, but you don't see anything. And by doing that, you get some sort of emotional fatigue, and that will push your self-esteem down. This breakup was, you felt probably as rejected. Right? And those moments can be sort of almost on a therapeutical point of view, psychological point of view, as micro-rejection. Each time you get this distant behavior, each time you receive this really cold message, this really cold email, it's a tiny rejection. And what you're doing is you're adding up those rejections. And I see that every day with my clients. This will mechanically push your self-esteem down. It will mechanically put your confidence down. And creating the conditions for you to feel more anxious. Creating the conditions of, having those days where you feel like, oh, he's not answering. Oh, why did he answer that? What should I say? What should I do? I call it the text insecurities, the phase between each of your interactions where you're completely insecure and anxious. Okay, so it's very important for you to be aware of that, because a recovery is sometimes quite long, and if you keep on staying in this hot and cold phase, you're not gonna you're really gonna suffer, and you will actually build more resentment. And honestly, you won't, by being complacent in this phase, you're actually making things worse for you and for the recovery. So what to do about it? few tips, very practical. Diffuse the tensions. Like any crisis, you have to diffuse the tension. And use humor, obviously. What's going on? You seem very emotional. I do this to most men, to most women. So you really, be playful with this. Rather than being over emotional, showing to your ex that there's a lot at stake. That it's so important that they take priority. You can diffuse and be playful with that. Another one is to suggest next steps. So sometimes men, or usually men, they're sort of clumsy. They don't exactly know what to do, how to approach things, and how to communicate, because they want to see you, but they don't want to get overexcited because they're not sure. So feel free to take a bit of the lead, and let's grab coffee next week. I'm in your neighborhood on Thursday. Or a pushier one is like, does it mean you miss me and you want to invite me for dinner? Okay. I'm completely mindful that when I give tips on what to send, and that's why I don't do a lot of videos really about texting, I know by experience that it doesn't work to provide a one size fits approach, one size fits all approach. And so what I'm doing with, I have 20 clients per month. I can't take more. And those clients, I help them on WhatsApp. I guide them on WhatsApp, and I help them find the right sentence, the right answers, depending on the situation. If you want to get some help and you're confused by these kind of things, because it's very confusing, and you want to get someone to give you some support, as well as the eye of an expert on your situation, and help you, guide you, because it's kind of a maze, relationship recovery, ping me on WhatsApp. There's a link in the description, and you can ask your questions and see whether it makes sense for us to work together. Sign number 2, only calls and texts to have sex. I usually advise my clients to have sex after you're back together. So the relationship needs to restart before having sex. That's the other way to say it. You don't want to be the one. So really, you're not a tool. If your ex uses you, whether you're male or female, before, it's basically, I'm having sex because I need to get this intimacy. I need this. I have this deep need for intimacy. And I'm using you in between our relationship and the next one. It means that you accept those breadcrumbs, right? And again, we're back to the low self-esteem, low confidence. Don't get fooled. It's not by having sex with your ex that you're going to get back with them. What I assess with my clients is really the progress. Sometimes it's a good move to have sex with your ex and trigger this kind of things. Sometimes, and most of the time, if you have sex and it leads nowhere and your friends with benefit, it's actually making more harm than good. So make him wait, make him or her wait and fight for you. It's the only way and my pen just dropped, it's the only way to ensure that he or she's serious about you too, right? You really want to make sure that you're on the same page. If their expectations don't match your expectations, there's no point investing in this. And if you have sex with them, you can confront them and tell them, so it means we're back together, right? And at least you know what to expect. Bring clarity, because I know a breakup is confusing. I know you have a lot of questions. I know it's very confusing. And sometimes, why don't you clarify things with your ex? Especially when it comes to getting in bed with them. It's something serious. It's something where you show yourself, where it's extremely intimate. So you have the right to tell them, so that means we're back together, right? And if you do it with a smile, it's even better. Actions differ from words. So the promise they don't keep. The good thing with this is that it's factual. They said something, they didn't deliver. I call you this today and they didn't. So why don't you talk about it? Again, confront them. Remind your ex that you want things to work out. And ask them what they want. As simple as that. So try not to be too judgmental. Just mention these kind of things, telling them, okay, I want things to work out. Perhaps we're not on the same page. Let's have a discussion about that. Fourth sign, don't call so you run after your ex. This can happen. Remember, they broke up with you. And they perhaps complain that you called them, right? And now you've done the no contact, but they expect you to do most of the work. They took the decision, they complained that you called, but now they're expecting you to call. I want you to question whether it's the right person. I wouldn't break up with my partner just for the sake of seeing her chasing me. This is toxic. It's a kind of, could be narcissistic in a way. So be mindful of this type of behavior, because it's actually, again, what I discussed before. It's really about don't waste your time. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes your ex is not the right person for you for various reasons, but really assess those things. So if you have seen those signs in your ex, if you see other signs that are confusing and want to ask questions, feel free to comment underneath this video. And you can also like, it does help me a lot if you want to support my work. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.